If you were the coronavirus czar today or president of the United States, besides creating potentially a very large prize, the other ideas that are being bandied about, are bailouts of various kinds for certain industries that are particularly hard hit by this. You think there's a moral hazard issue there in some of those cases? Obviously, in a lot of those cases, there's not much of a moral hazard issue. Somebody pointed out, I don't think you expect the Thai restaurant on the corner to prepare for a pandemic and act accordingly in advance, so that worrying about the impact of a bailout there is probably not the biggest worry. What are your thoughts on these moral hazard issues? Do you think the airline should get a bailout? Think that's a good thing?
One has to be very careful with that word bailout. People mean so many different things by it.
Fair enough.
I don't think our government should let all of the major corporations fail, which are likely to fail if we do nothing. That said, at this point, I remain agnostic as to exactly what we should do. On one hand, you don't want to be in a position of picking winners and losers. But on the other hand, I think one needs to realize maybe, cruise ships are not really coming back in a big way, and maybe they shouldn't. So there is something to be said for some sectoral targeting here. But I think the political economy consequences of just letting all of those jobs go away are too dire, and we would end up with much more government. We'd have like a New Deal squared. And I think some Band-Aid has to be applied. I've yet to see a plan that I find very convincing. And they're all plans based on the premise of these businesses just need some loans to tide them over. That might be true. It might be the bet we end up having to take because maybe there's not any other bet. But I don't feel as good about it as the other people out there pushing these ideas. They seem a little hasty to me, like they're taking tools out of the toolbox from the last crisis, things they thought should have been done and weren't, and saying now is the time to see I was right all along. Makes me very nervous. I'm seeing high levels of epistemic non-rationality. But that said, I really am not here trying to argue for doing nothing. I don't think we can let all the cards fall to the ground.